Okay, so I wasn't planning on making this video just yet, but I figured it's best to do it now before anything changes. Of course, if you read the title, you will know what I'm talking about because Brawl Stars have gotten some serious changes over the past few weeks. One of these changes is Crow for both his gadgets and buffies, and needless to say, I think they're broken. So with that said, in this video I'll be going over why I think Crow is now better than ever and which modes to consider using him on. Okay, so before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just want to say one thing, and that is how much I hate teaming in solo showdown, which, in case if you didn't know, has been happening more frequently in the past couple of weeks, and as you can see is happening in this match as we speak. Thankfully, it's not every match, it's more like 1 in 5 matches, but it's still annoying to deal with, and I hope it dies down soon. Anyways, let's move on, starting off with Crow's gadgets, because some players are a bit split on this. For example, his slowing toxin gadget is now separate from his main attack, as you are able to aim and throw with it, albeit at a pretty slow speed. This alone might cause some players to think it's no longer useful, and while I certainly wish it was faster, it still slows down enemies for 2 seconds and deals a bit of damage as well. His other gadget, which gave him a shield, was renamed to Insta Poison, and basically when you deal damage to someone, you activate this gadget, which will not only give you a shield for 1500 HP, but you now deal the remaining poison damage on an enemy in an instant. Me personally, I wasn't a fan of this because obviously the only way to use this gadget is to deal damage, and that shield is a complete joke because it disappears in like 2 seconds, which probably makes it one of the worst shields in the game. Now you might be thinking, well, how can these gadgets be better than the original if they have these downsides? And that is of course because of his new buffies. I'm just gonna say it, if you're gonna get buffies for Crow, I highly recommend getting the ones for his gadget first because it makes them so much better. His instant poison is now able to reset the poison damage you do on a brawler, so you essentially deal twice the amount of damage. While the shield may have not gotten a buff, I think this makes up for it and can be useful in some scenarios. In this case, I managed to absolutely decimate this bull who easily could have had the upper hand here, but for some reason chose not to advance and got taken out. With this buffy, his slowing toxin kunai is now able to bounce off of an object regardless if it's another brawler or power cube box. So let's say there's a brawler hiding behind a box and is waiting for you to come forward and attack you. The best way to fight in this situation is by first damaging the box, or they recover slowly until it has about 1000 HP left, and then you can use your kunai to destroy the box and hit the brawler. This strategy has worked really well for me, and I'm sure it works even better now with how fast it is to get both his super and hypercharge. Speaking of hypercharge, if you're not satisfied with just his gadget buffy, I also recommend getting this one because it is really good. When active, his attack is now able to boomerang similar to that one Wasabi power back then at a cost of 20% of his regular attack damage. In my eyes, this makes it worth getting because apart from his hypercharge being easy to unlock, you can deal insane amounts of damage to anyone. And if you're still not convinced, then just watch the last few seconds of this match. So I highly recommend getting both of these buffies, but if you can only afford one, then I suggest getting the one for his gadget because I promise you, you won't be disappointed. I happen to have all of his buffies unlocked, but to be honest, I would avoid buying his star power buffy as it doesn't really affect his playstyle all that much. For gem grab and hot zone, I'll be using slowing toxin as my gadget, but for knockout I'll be going with insta poison, and you'll see why in a bit.
my crew. I'm walking here. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
For real?
Hey, watch out! Don't make me get Nita! Get out of here! You looking at me? I'm walking here. You looking at me?
Let's do this.
Yes, yes, yes! Let's settle this beef. Get out of here! You looking at me? Talk is cheap. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Sucker on! Hey, you clipped me! Don't mess with my crew! You looking at me? I'm walking here. Hey, you clipped me. Let's settle this beef. I always get my mark. I'm walking here. Hey, watch out! Get out of here! Hey, watch out! Hey, you with me? Let's settle this beef. The boss is awesome. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Nice piece of work.
So those were my thoughts on Crow and all the wonderful changes he got in this new update. But let me know what you guys think about him in the comments and if you plan to buy any of his buffies. Anyways, have a good day.